fighting back after an Abuja court said he should step aside as the national chairman of the APC. As a court sitting in Kano today says status quo antebellum should be maintained, Mr. Oshiomhole is reacting. And INEC, alongside National Assembly members, say they plan to ensure election riggers and offenders don't go free. INEC says it plans to go full digital in its operations. We'll find out how they hope to do that. Hello everyone and welcome to the program. It's a special edition of the program. We are out of the studio on site and we are in Ikeja area of Lagos. Welcome to the program everyone. What a day it has been. Some of the biggest stories politics wise are happening and they're rolling in so fast. So tonight, brace up everyone because it's going to be fast paced and we're going to be dishing out some of these stories for you. So let's get started, shall we? Where should we begin from? Let's begin from the South region of the country, where governors of the South region are taking cue from their counterparts in the Southwest and in the Southeast region. So today, the governors of the South are saying that they are setting up a security outfit to address the security challenges in the region. At the end of their meeting in Asaba, the capital of Delta State, the chairman of the South Governors Forum, Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, said other resolutions reached include the resuscitation of the Brace Commission, which will help to harmonize policies that would drive the economic cooperation and integration of the region.
I'm sure that a lot of you would have been waiting on that. And we have agreed as a region that there is a need to have a regional security outfit, and we have mandated the Brace Commission to begin to work out the details and to brief us at our next meeting, which is going to hold in Port Harcourt.
And now to one of perhaps your biggest stories, one thing that you have been expecting, developing story that we're working for you on, and that is a story about the suspension saga over the national chairman of the APC, Mr. Adams Oshiomhole. Today, Federal High Court sitting in Kano has issued an order that all parties involved in the suit challenging the suspension of the APC national chairman from the Ward 10, Esako Ward 10 in Edo State should maintain status quo pending the hearing of the motion notice. Justice Lewis Alagua, upon hearing the ex parte motion, ruled that the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) should refrain from communicating, dealing, or recognizing any person other than Mr. Oshiomhole as the national chairman of the APC for any dealings or business pending the hearing of the motion on notice before him. The court also ordered that all defendants in the suit shall enter appearance and file their processes in defense of the suit. The defendants in the suit are the APC, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), Mr. Oshiomhole, and the police and the DG of the DSS. The court has adjourned till April the 8th for hearing on the matter. Yesterday, an Abuja High Court granted a separate interlocutory order stopping Mr. Oshiomhole from parading himself as the national chairman of the APC, pending the hearing and determination of a suit filed by the national vice chairman of the party in the Northeast, Mr. Mustafa Salihu, and 5 others. Mr. Salihu had asked the court to grant his application since Mr. Oshiomhole had been suspended by the party in his council ward in Edo State. But Mr. Oshiomhole is not leaving anything to chance and is not allowing this to lie low. The embattled chairman of the APC was at the presidential villa today to meet with President Muhammadu Buhari and has been reacting to his suspension. He says that he's being picked holes in the judgment of or in the interlocutory order of the Abuja, the Federal High Court in Abuja. Take a listen to him.
the document that we have says clearly that my word passed vote of confidence on me. How the court can uphold vote of confidence and twist it to mean vote of no confidence, only that judge can explain it to himself. But the good news is that this is not a final court, nor is it the only court. Incidentally, it is just the court that didn't have the jurisdiction even to listen to this matter. And our lawyers so ported it out. But the judge was determined to oblige those who want to destabilize the All Progressive Congress.
So the supporters of Mr. Shomale talking and reacting to this earlier before that judgment, Mr. Eze Yamo and some of the supporters of Mr. Shomale in Benin City on the ground there, they had a few things to talk about and they met earlier today. But let's leave Mr. Shomale and some of the battle in court for a moment. There's another interesting thing that we will bring to you tonight on the program. I have a special guest with me here in the studio, here in our makeshift studio here. But before we go to him, there's something interesting that is happening in Osun State, where there appears to be a political crisis lurking around the corner. The former governor of Osun State, Mr. Aregbesola, is receiving stiff opposition to some of the policies he left behind by his successor, Mr. Oyetola, the governor, who has upturned and reversed most of the policies he left behind, including some of the very interesting education policies of Mr. Aregbesola. That has gotten a lot of people talking. Tonight, for a moment, let's talk to the Chief Press Secretary to Mr. Oyetola. Mr. Ismail Obmipidon joins us from our Lagos studio there to clear the air and give insight into what really happened and why his predecessor, we are hearing about godfathers and how their godsons are having troubles in the political climate. It seems that the APC is being hit by some of these godfather troubles. Mr. Obmipidon, thank you so much for coming on tonight. It does look like few months after your principal got into office, he's been having crises with his predecessor. What exactly has happened is upturned all the policies. He was the chief of staff, and a lot of people will say he was in the know of some of these policies. What went down?
Thank you very much, Mr. Ashim. Good evening. Let me first of all start by saying that in the state of Osun, there is nothing like a political crisis. You will recall very well that in 2018, during the electioneering, incidentally, one of the debates were anchored by Chinese television. And during that debate, Mr. Governor, then a candidate of the APC, was put on the spot, particularly about certain educational policies of the state. And he was asked pointedly that if he becomes the governor of the state, will he change the single uniform policy? And I recall very well his response was that there is no policy that is rigid, and that if at any point in time the people of the state want any of those policies reviewed, he will look at it. That is one. Two, shortly after he emerged as governor, his predecessor, there was this town hall meeting that they usually hold from time to time. At that town hall meeting, he was saying that if there were anything that he has done that he didn't do well, that the party can liaise with the incoming governor to see how they can, if need be, to review. And so, to that extent, I want to say that both the predecessor and Mr. Governor had it in mind that a day like this may come. Now, immediately after the election, Mr. Governor embarked on Meet the People tour.
Nigerians are following what is happening in Osun State, and a lot of people know that things are not very much right with Mr. Oyetola and his predecessor, Mr. Aregbesola. True or false, there seems to be some disagreement.
How? There is no disagreement. That was why I was trying to lay the foundation for the review we have. And let me also put on record that it wasn't everything that was rejigged. Certain aspects of it that did not conform with the national education policy. For example, it's only in the state of Osun that we are operating 5345 system as against the 6334 that is operated all over the country. Again, we have a situation where students, candidates who wrote WAEC, carrying certificates of WAEC, carrying certificate of school other than their original school. For example, a male candidate carrying certificate of a school that is supposed to be attended by a female candidate. And the committee who sat to review some of these policies said that since we have not paid the sum of 300 million, which WAEC is asking us to pay if we want a change of name, that it will be easy to revert to the old names. And by doing that, we are not paying anything. And again, we will have to issue a letter of attestation to all those candidates, about 20,000 of them.
In essence, Mr. Mikidon, because of our time, in essence, there is an agreement within the cabinet of Mr. Oyetola, the governor of Osun, said that the policies of Mr. Rauf Aregbesola were faulty. Is that the realization now?
Not faulty. The policies were put in place, and after implementation over a period of time, we realized that there were certain things that were not working well, and therefore there was need to rejig them to make them work well, so as to ensure that the legacy we are trying to preserve endures.
You were, apologies, just because we have just few seconds before the end of this one. I like to put on record here, because you are a political editor of a newspaper, and you understand how these things work. In another few days, you will hear, and this thing will be blown into the public knowledge. Are you telling Nigerians that there is no disagreement whatsoever between Mr. Rauf Aregbesola and the governor, Oyetola? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I can say emphatically that there is no such disagreement. But you know, in political environment, people make a lot of insinuations. There are certain things that some supporters of politicians do that will make it look as if perhaps something is wrong somewhere. But I want to place on record that as of today,
I guess we must leave it at that, because we have a special guest here. But Mr. Ismail Omikuna, I must sincerely thank you for talking to us tonight. That's the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Osun State, Mr. Ismail Omikuna. Thank you so much for talking to us.